Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Booze Bites, the show where I teach you how to cook something with booze, but not just any booze, local booze. Before I get into what we're making today, I hope that everyone out there is staying safe and staying healthy. Something that has been bringing me a lot of joy during this time, which I'm sure comes as no surprise, has been wine. Today we are going to be cooking with a 2019 Albarino from Jamesport Vineyard. I think it's going to play really nicely with some of the flavors that we have going into this dish. But before we get started, as always, we have to try our wine, and this glass is not full enough. I really like this wine. It's citrusy, it's fruity, it has a little bit of saltiness to it. I think it's going to play really well with the flavors of our strawberry tart. So this recipe basically has three components. First we have our pie crust. Next we have our cannoli filling-esque kind of inspired layer. And then we have our strawberries. But first things first, let's start with the pie crust. So making a pie crust sounds very intimidating. I promise you it's not. It's very easy. I'm going to take off my jewelry though, because we are going to be using our hands for this recipe. So in front of me I have 170 grams of flour. If you don't have a scale, this is about 1 cup and a third of just regular flour. To it, we're going to add a half a teaspoon of salt and just really give that a nice whiskey whisk. 9 tablespoons of butter. This is 1 whole stick of butter plus an additional tablespoon. So what I do, it's very cold butter. You want it to be as cold as possible. And I'm going to cut this up into little cubes and throw it into the flour. Butter is now all in the flour mixture. And I just want to coat those pieces of butter with the flour and then just kind of start to push the pieces of butter apart into these flat little pieces that will go back into the flour. So now what we want to start doing is I have a cup of very cold ice water. You can see the theme. And just add maybe 3 tablespoons. The point here is to just add enough water to bring this together into a cohesive ball. And now we're gonna wrap up the dough and stick it into the fridge to rest for at least 30 minutes, if not a couple hours. So I have 1 pound of strawberries. I'm just gonna slice them. Honestly, you can cut them however you want. Oh my God, I could just eat this whole bowl of strawberries. These need to go into the fridge covered. The sugar is gonna make them all super juicy and delicious. And then this, we will come back to at the end. Pie dough is out of the refrigerator. Now we are going to be rolling it out until the dough is about 1/4 inch thick. I, for some reason, do not have a rolling pin. However, I do have a wine bottle, and that's what I'm going to be using because those never seem to be in short supply around here. And the last thing we are doing is just putting an egg wash on. As you can see, I don't have, a brush, so I use my hands. Now we're on the final step. It is also where the delicious wine comes in. So here I have about 1 cup of ricotta, and to it I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar. And to this ricotta mixture, we are going to add, I'm going to start with 1/4 cup of the wine and see if I want it any boozier than that. So for me, that 1/4 cup is perfect. It adds this little bit of citrusiness to the ricotta mixture that counteracts that very sweetness that the sugar adds, but it definitely adds a certain something that I think makes this dessert very unique. So this I'm actually going to put into the freezer for maybe 10 to 15 minutes to firm up because it is quite liquidy right now. And then once all of our elements are cooked, we will come back here and assemble everything together. So it has been a few hours. The ricotta actually stayed in the freezer for that whole time. I just took it out a few times to stir it around, and our tart is completely cooled. So now we're going to assemble. You don't need to meticulously place each individual strawberry slice on like I am doing. You can just pour it on. I just want to make it look really pretty. It is quite liquidy, so you are going to want to serve this immediately once you put all these layers on. But first, photos. It tastes like a different version of strawberry shortcake. Would you like to try some?
Yes. Great. Good job.
It's great. Wow. Moving on up in the world. Oh my God, I could eat this whole thing. Cheers.